Today I'm in a little bit of a devilish mood. Don't go away. Hello everybody and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm feeling a little evil. So maybe we need to take on a demon. Okay, so today we're going to take a run at a demon. This casting should be a lot of fun. And, you know, it's called a demon, right? So I think we need to give it a very special paint job. Something a bit evil. Evil, as in the fruits of the devil. You would say it would be evil. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start out the way we always start out, by getting this casting apart. And for that, we're going to use the Vix Bits and shielded drilling. A little drop of oil on the rivet head, a little dab will do ya, and then we can drill that off and get this casting apart into its little sub pieces. Despite its really cool and slightly evil look, this casting is really pretty simple. It's got the base, interior, glass, body, and best of all, cap-style wheels. And I love me some cap-style wheels. So we've got the rivet heads drilled off. We'll get my little persuader, and we'll get this car popped apart so we can get everything separated and get to work. Now, normally when they have like an exposed motor like this, Hot Wheels is known for having that motor be metal and act as one of the posts for the casting, but that's not the case in this particular one. The motor kind of snaps in to some holes molded into the casting, and I couldn't get it out. So I kind of went from behind and took my little razor knife and I cut away some material and popped it out, and finally got it off and put it to the side. All right, so everything's apart, and now we can just go ahead and get the posts prepped so they'll take the screws. We'll go ahead and add a little drop of oil. And listen, if you're not doing the Vix Bits, you really need to be, because not only are they great at getting the castings apart, but if you take the Vix Bits and put them over the top of the post and run it, it will clean up the edges and dimple the post perfectly. It's a great way to prepare your posts for screws. Anyhow, that aside, once that's done and the posts are ready to go, a little dab of oil on each post, and I can drill down into them and get them ready to be tapped out. Now, if you go back into my videos, you can see in my early days, I was not tapping out the posts. One of the reasons was I was afraid of the posts, and I was afraid of damaging them and blowing them out and stuff like that, because I really sucked at getting the posts drilled out and all that. And the other reason, I just didn't think it really needed it. But really, frankly, you need to be doing this, because this gives you an opportunity to make sure there's no problems, make sure that the hole is deep enough that the screw goes in well, and everything is going to come together correctly later after the casting has paint on it. And so by tapping it out, you're going to make it all go together so much better later on, and you can look for and avoid problems now. So with the posts all ready, I go ahead and put a screw into it. That's going to make sure it stays clean throughout the stripping and painting process. So I put a screw in now, and then I can take it out when I'm ready to put the car together. It's just going to stay in there for the rest of the time and act as a protective barrier for the work that I've done to the post. I love my little vacuum. And if you don't have one, you can get this one. Look for a link in the description. But, you know, you can get any one that you like, but it's really nice to have one of these little vacuums on your desk. It's just USB powered. You know, charge it up, and then you can run it whenever you need to and just help you clean up your workspace. Really love this thing. All right, so I told you I wanted to do a very, very special paint job here. I want to do like a murdered out candy red, candy black paint job. So the casting, when I'm done, should look black, except under the right lighting. Then you'll see the red. And I think it's going to look really, really awesome. Now, I'm going to be honest, this body was pretty beat, and I had to do a lot of sanding and filing and things like that to get it to look straight. And so that's going to cause me some problems. And not only that, I'm having problems with my airbrush. It's like a little bit clogged or something like that. After this epic fail of a paint job, I'm going to have to go and clean this thing out before I can try again. And yes, that's all foreshadowing. This paint job is going to be an epic fail. So what happened is the paint brush, the airbrush, is spattering, and it's putting on this weird texture through the base coat, which is like a glitter, like a silver metallic-y base coat, because I need that little sparkle under what's going to be a candy red layer, and then underneath that I'm going to put on top of it a candy black. And so I want that base down deep in the paint. I want it to be a little bit sparkly, and it doesn't go on well, and it builds up from here. It just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, and the casting ends up looking like crap. And so I end up having to stop and throw this back into the stripper. So after the stripper, I do a little bit more sanding. I've taken my airbrush, I broke it down, I cleaned it, and it's pristine, and everything's working better. So I've started all over again, and I'm putting on the base coat and getting that silver on there. And the last time I was trying to put the black on first, then the red over that. That didn't work so well. So this time I'm actually going to put the candy red. This is from the Candy 2.0 line. And I'm going to put it's blood red. I'm going to put that on first, let it dry. Then I'm going to coat this thing with Candy 2.0 candy black. And I'm just going to find the perfect sweet spot, and I'm going to tell you, this paint job comes out amazing. I can't wait to show it to you at the end. It's exactly what I was hoping for, and it's perfect for a car that looks this murdered out. All right, so now after everything is dried, it's time for clear, because the one thing that this needs is clear coat. And I'll tell you why. These candy paints, especially if you have like metallics underneath them and stuff like that, they look good on their own, but it's the clear coat that really makes them pop. And so if you're going to do a paint job like this, you're going to have to clear coat. And I'm using the clear coat I get from Diecast Graveyard, Paul Bechtel. Fantastic stuff. And I'm putting it on the way I normally do. I'm doing the tack coats, then the medium coats, and then the wet coats. And this is going to look deep and wet and beautiful. And man, I cannot wait until the glamour shots to show you what this paint job looks like. Okay, so now it's time to go ahead and pay attention to the base. I always leave the old wheels on to either protect the caps or protect the hubs. That's what I'm going to do here. This needs a little bit of the Flitz lime treatment, so I'm going to put it in its little container, and then I'll give it a spritz, cover it up, and let it sit for a few minutes before I go and wash it. All right, so I've washed this off really well, and I'm just drying it. And it's important when you do this, don't leave it in the lime product too long, because it will go past cleaning and into toning, and it'll start to darken your base, and you'll have a dickens of a time getting it to look right again. So just long enough for it to clean itself up a little bit, wash it off, and then we can do the rest of the work using a brass bristle brush.
I'm just gonna...
So the base will dictate what you need to do or not to do. This base is looking really good, okay? So a lot of times you'll see me break out the rotary tool and some flits and give this a polish. I'm not going to need to do that. The brass bristle brush is doing everything that I need. I'm just going to shine this thing up with the brush, and then I'm going to treat this with some Renaissance wax to protect it and make sure it doesn't tarnish again anytime soon. Have I mentioned how much I love cap style wheels? Oh, they're so great. Okay, look, all you do is you take the blade of your X-Acto, fit it between the cap part and the base, and just kind of rock it in there. And once the blade drops in, you give it a little twist, and here. Do you hear that? There you go. That's what happens. The little cap pops right off. It's fabulous. Super easy. You take the replacement, put it on there, snap it on, and you're in business. It's so wonderful. Best thing ever if you're a Hot Wheels restorer is cap style wheels. Love them. So at this point, the base is shiny. It's protected. I've got brand new cap style wheels on it. It's looking fabulous, and we're really motoring through this build.
Nice.
All right, I'm about ready to go ahead and put this casting back together. The motor actually did kind of snap back in, but it wasn't really tight, so I did put a little super glue on the base of it and then snapped it in, so it's going to stay in there very, very nicely. And now I can go ahead and turn my attention to getting this casting back together. Again, it's just as simple as dropping in the glass, the interior, and then screwing the base on. Now, once I've done all that, there's just little bits of detail work, like, for instance, I knew I was going to have to handle the motor a lot to get it back in there, so I didn't put Molotow on it until later. I'm going to do that after the casting is back together. So we'll go ahead and get this sealed back up, and then we can do our little detail work before we call this one done.
Screw out. I know a lot of you are thinking, the screwdriver is really kind of pointless. How hard is it to screw on and off the screws? And it's not hard. But I'm sorry, I love it. I love it. And it is together, and that is sexy. Okay, rolls great too.
So you see me using my fabulous rubber silicone mat that I got at Hobby Lobby. I'm also using their little disposable paint trays. It's just like, I think there's like 10 of them in a package. They're really cheap, and there's 9 spots, and I'm just going to plop a little of the Molotow into one of the spots, and then I can go ahead and paint and re-chrome the motor and make it look fantastic. But yeah, so in addition to the silicone mat, I'm also using the little paint trays, and I love them. And just like that, here is my demon in its murdered out paint job. I cannot wait for you to get a look at this thing. you have it. My demon in a murdered blackish candy red paint that, despite a little bit of a setback, came out really, really cool. This thing exudes evil, okay? It just feels so great, man. What a fun casting. I had a great time with this, and I hope you had a great time with this video. If you did, please give it a giant thumbs up, click subscribe, and don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. As always, if you have any questions or comments, I'd love to hear from you, so put them down below. It makes my day. All right, that's going to do it. I hope the rest of your day is fantastic, and there is no evil anywhere in your future. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.